It's Wednesday, two things in the gaming news world that I want to talk about. The first story involves us finally learning something official from the horse's mouth about canceled Rockstar Games projects. Big stuff, specifically for me personally, around Agent. Agent, if you don't know, was I guess at the time, PS3 exclusive Rockstar game that was announced. It had a logo splash and everything. In 2009, it was announced. Nothing ever came from it. It was pretty much radio silence, other than the occasional leaks here and there over the years. In my mind, I had followed Agent as close as I could ever since it was announced, just because conceptually it sounded so cool. It was going to be Rockstar Games' take on a spy thriller style game, suggested to have taken place like in the Cold War and like the 70s. It had a lot of potential. Ultimately, we pretty much know it was canceled, but now we have officially, like I said, word from the horse's mouth, the head honcho, Dan Houser, of course, the co-founder of Rockstar Games, along with Sam Houser. Dan Houser, if you don't know, left Rockstar Games in 2020, but he was a co-founder. He was also like creative head and writer on so many games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto 4, Max Payne 3. Obviously, a very, very core part of the Rockstar that a lot of us really knew and loved. He's notorious for and Rockstar really, notorious for not getting too much out of them. He doesn't do interviews, but he's actually done two this year, interestingly enough. He did one with Ryan McCaffrey at IGN not too long ago, and now he's done one for the Lex Friedman podcast. I don't have too much experience with this podcast, but this is a really long interview, and they go into a lot of stuff. I highly recommend checking it out if you're like an info junkie like me, a Rockstar history info junkie. Dan Houser specifically went on the record about a lot of stuff, specifically this Agent game. He said, and I quote, "We worked a lot on multiple iterations of an open world spy game, and it never came together. It had about 5 different versions. I don't think it works," I concluded. And I keep thinking about it sometimes. I sometimes lie in bed thinking about it. And I've concluded that what makes them really good as film stories makes them not work as video games. We need to think through how to do it in a different way as a video game. I don't know what it would have been because we never got it enough to even do a proper story on it. We were doing the early work where you would get the world up and running, and it never really found its feet in either of them. And I sort of think I know why. Houser described that there were different versions of the game, like one set in like a 70s kind of Soviet spy thriller, and then others more modern day, and a lot of different versions, linear open world, but it never really worked out. He did quote and compare to spy films specifically, saying, "Those films are very, very frenetic and they're beat to beat. You've got to go here and save the world. You've got to go there and stop that person being killed and then save the world." An open world game does have moments like that when the story comes together, but for large portions, it's a lot looser and you're just hanging out and doing what you want. I want freedom. I want to go over here and do what I want, and I want to go over and do what you want. And that's why it works so well being a criminal, referring to the Grand Theft Auto games, saying, because you don't have anyone telling you what to do. We do try and create an external agency through these people kind of forcing you into the story at times, but as a spy, that doesn't really work because you have to be against the clock. So I think for me, I question if you can even make a good open world spy game. That's really unfortunate that they just couldn't figure it out, but it sucks that they wasted resources and time and mental energy on something like that, but better scrap it than force out a game that doesn't really work. I think some studios don't really have that option. Sometimes they get so far in the weeds, so much time invested, they have to put something out. I'm really glad that Rockstar did ultimately decide to shit can it. But was Dan Houser wrong about like spy thrillers and it not really working for an open world formula? Was there a way it could work? I don't know, but it seems like for what they like to do, it wasn't working for them. But at the very least, the way I look at this, I'm grateful that we have this interview and we kind of have like a closure on Agent. So many of us have like poured over the little bits of concept art that leaked and little info tidbits here and there. Nothing really out there, but at least now we have the final word again from one of the original people behind it, one of the head honchos. Agent, I guess, is no more. And really, it feels like that whole era of Rockstar Games is no more, right? Where they would do the big games, do the big heavy hitters, the San Andreas, GTA 4, the Red Deads, but then do all these weird things in between, like the Warriors game, or table tennis, or Bully. Agent, to me, was another one of those games where they were trying different stuff, following interests, following different pursuits. And it's unfortunate that this one just didn't work out, because I feel like if they did crack the code and release it, it would be up there just how we speak highly of all their other games. But specifically those weirder ones, again, the bullies, the manhunts, stuff like that. Along with that, in this interview, we did get a little glimpse. He did confirm that, yes, they were working on GTA 5 DLC, and he specifically cited, he said, and I quote, the internet knows about this one, and he confirmed it was Agent Trevor. It was a fun DLC. He said, quote unquote, it was cute, centered around Trevor being a secret agent. He didn't go necessarily into why they abandoned it, but he did confirm that they did abandon it. And he did say that if they didn't do that, they maybe didn't have the resources or bandwidth to get around to making Red Dead Redemption 2. So I guess it's a good thing, really. He did also kick around the idea of doing a GTA 5 DLC that was like GTA Zombies. That could have been a lot of fun. And man, just hearing that, just thinking of the potential of that could have been pretty cool. Next up, this video is brought to you by our longtime sponsor, Factor. If you don't know, Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. But what does that actually mean? Well, it gives you flexibility. Let's be honest, most of us here have busy lives. Whether you have kids, you're going to school, you're working, whatever the heck you got going on, sometimes life gets a little crazy and it's hard to stay consistent with meals. That's where Factor comes in. With a new expanded menu, Factor is making it really easy to accomplish your wellness goals, lifestyle goals, whatever you got going on. I love when I got a busy work day when I'm grinding through things because it's like 2 minutes in the microwave and you're good to go, but it's good, delicious, real food. And like I said, with all this new stuff, Factor has actually doubled the size of their menu. Over 80 rotating weekly meals, so tons of choices for every type of diet and preference. They have all types of fun little add-ons if you're looking to, cut calories or pack on some protein. They have all these choices, and the most important thing for me is that it actually tastes good. So if you want to check it out, all you got to do is click the link in the description down below, or head to factor75.com. And when you're there, use the code OnJakeFB50 for 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. So again, click the link in the description down below. And then when you're there, use code OnJakeFB50 for 50% off your first Factor box, plus a year of free breakfast. Check that out, get eaten, and big thanks to Factor for sponsoring this video. Now back to it. But that's where that's at. Again, the interview has a lot of interesting stuff about game design, writing, and all sorts of concepts, but it's nice to get some closure on some lingering questions some Rockstar Games fans had, like myself. So Dan Houser, is he going to do more interviews? I don't know. I'm curious because he's out on the road now. He's got a different studio. He's got Absurd Ventures that he started in 2024, and he's making all sorts of weird, like different multimedia projects. He founded that with other Rockstar people, Laszlo Jones and Michael Unsworth, and there is definitely potential there. So I'm going to keep my eye on that, just like I kept my eye on Leslie Benzies and the Everywhere project and Build a Rocket Boy, and that ultimately ended up as Mind's Eye, and that wasn't so hot. So here I'm hoping that another classic Rockstar person can emerge from Rockstar and still continue to make cool stuff. But for now, we have to wait and see. If you're new, welcome to Two Things. Every Wednesday, I talk about gaming news. On Friday, on Game Ranks, I do the whole gaming news roundup. But here on this channel, on Wednesdays, I dive into topics that I find particularly interesting, talk a little bit more about. The second news story I want to talk about, sorry, it's not about gaming, it's about movies. I can't help myself. A lot of you guys were asking me to talk about this. I don't know where to talk about it because it's movies, and I don't have a movie channel, but there was a story that broke from the film trade publications suggesting that they are in talks to make a new Mummy movie. One might call it The Mummy 4, starring, apparently they are in talks, Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz coming back. There have been rumors and silly things floating around for a long time now, but now this is probably the most official thing we've heard. It's not a full confirmation yet, but the other thing coming from this is that Radio Silence is involved, the people behind Ready or Not the game, a movie from 2018, 2019 that I thought was pretty thrilling, pretty entertaining, pretty fun. But a lot of the original producing partners are also apparently in the works with this. No Steven Sommers, though, the original director. So there's that. I'm talking about this because if you're new here, if you've been watching me for a long time, it comes up here and there. If you follow me on social media, I've been posting about how much I love The Mummy since, you can go back and look, since like 2012. I know it's like a big new thing now and people have really, like the fandom has really found each other, but I have been loving this movie for my entire life. A little fun Easter egg if you've never noticed. Look at that, mint VHS. Yeah, so a lot of people have been asking me how I feel about this. This is like a hot take, as I love The Mummy so much, but the deal is I only love the original. I don't think The Mummy Returns is that good. People are going to get mad at me, but when was the last time you watched it? It's fine, but it does not hold a candle to how perfectly constructed the original 1999 The Mummy is. And then, of course, there's the third one, which, whatever. Honestly, I would like for them to do a Halloween 2018 thing where they kind of retcon everything and they say, hey, just that first movie counted. That aside, though, I am so excited that people are really pumped for this, and people have been sending me and messaging me, and I appreciate that people even think of me when they hear about The Mummy or Brendan Fraser or anything like that. But I was at peace. It's kind of like being a Star Wars fan. Like, I've been at peace for a long time knowing that we weren't getting more movies. We weren't getting sequels of a thing anymore. I never imagined a Mummy sequel, and I was content and fine. I was never begging for a Mummy sequel. So ultimately, I don't really think I want one. I think that type of lightning in a bottle, it's a fool's errand to try and replicate that again. I think it was just a perfect storm of creativity and just great things that I don't see them really doing it justice. I feel like it is such a massive, tall order. But if it's gonna happen, I'm gonna root for it. I'm gonna hope for the best. What I really would like to see is them not do the thing they've done with like Indiana Jones and many other properties where it's like, they're still at it, but they're like depressed now and they're crusty, you know? I don't want to see that. And I think it doesn't feel right for The Mummy for them to do that. Obviously, like, the characters have gotten older, like they can grow and change, but like, don't make it a bummer. I think if this movie turns out good and triumphant and fun, I think people could really use that. And even if I am cynical and saying like, they're never going to top the original, I don't think they should bother. Even with that aside, like, I think if they do a good job, I think it's what the world could really use. Just a fun, good old swashbuckling mummy adventure. There were things suggesting that they might actually like retcon like at least the third movie, like whatever they do. I just want not just Brendan and Rachel as the leads, you know, but like I also really want Jonathan back, Oded Fair, of course, like whatever. Like, I don't know. In this instance, if it's just like Imhotep's back and they got to beat him one more time, fine. It's fine. Like, I'm actually okay with that. Like, I'm not into like the Emperor coming back again because it felt half-assed. But Imhotep, death is only the beginning. He said it, so why not? Whatever. I still ultimately like just leave it alone. Don't touch it. It's perfect. We don't need any more. But again, I hope they do a good job with it because if it is good, it'll make a lot of people really happy, myself included. So who am I? I would love to do a whole video talking about The Mummy and shit like that. But when I make movie videos, nobody clicks on them. So like I try and get it in here and there. So thank you for listening to me talk about The Mummy. And that's the gaming stuff this week. Let me know what you think about Dan Houser and his words on Rockstar Games' canceled Agent game. Let me know what you think about the Trevor DLC or potential Zombies DLC for Grand Theft Auto. This is crazy. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about The Mummy. Thank you. If you actually cared about me talking about The Mummy and you've been watching since pretty much like a decade ago, thank you. But either way, if you watched this whole video, thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm just talking about stuff I love. If you get that, clicking the like button helps me legitimately, but that's all I got for you today. I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games. Pizza's on me.